Welcome back to the channel Coins. Today you are about to hear one of the most misunderstood and most searched penny stories in the world, the rare Lincoln penny with the 1963 D mint mark, a coin that millions of people have held in their hands without knowing what secrets it may carry, a simple brown copper coin that looks ordinary but can become extraordinary under the right conditions. So watch till the end because this video can completely change the way you look at 1-cent coins. Forever the Lincoln penny is more than just money. It is American history pressed into metal, and the 1963 D Lincoln cent was minted during a powerful time in history, a time when the world was changing fast, when the United States was facing political tension, social movements, and economic shifts, and right in the middle of all that, the Denver Mint was producing millions of pennies that would quietly enter circulation and sit in pockets, jars, and drawers for decades. At first glance, the 1963 D Lincoln penny looks like any other old penny. Abraham Lincoln's strong profile on the front, wheat ears replaced by the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and that small letter D below the date that tells us this coin was struck in Denver. But collectors know something very important: not every coin is created equal, and some coins hide rare features that make them incredibly valuable. Most 1963 D pennies are common, and that is the truth many people do not want to hear, but here is where the real story begins, because value is not just about the date. Value is about condition, metal, and mistakes, and in the world of coin collecting, mistakes can be worth more than perfection. The year 1963 is important because pennies were still made mostly of copper, 95% copper to be exact, which already gives the coin a strong base value. But beyond the metal, certain 1963 D pennies were struck with errors that slipped past mint inspectors, and those errors are what collectors dream about. Some 1963 D Lincoln pennies show doubled lettering where the words and numbers appear slightly shadowed or doubled, especially in the date or the word Liberty, and these double die errors can push a penny's value from a few cents to hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on clarity and condition. Other rare examples include off-center strikes where the design is not perfectly aligned, clipped planchets where part of the coin is missing, weak strikes, die cracks, and unusual textures. And each of these errors tells a story of a moment when the minting machine did not behave as planned. Then there is condition, and condition is everything. A circulated penny that spent years moving from hand to hand will not bring big money, but a 1963 D penny that looks almost brand new, with sharp details, full luster, and no major scratches can be extremely desirable, especially if it has never been cleaned or altered. Professional grading services grade coins on a scale, and a high grade 1963 D Lincoln penny in near-perfect condition can sell for impressive prices, and when an error is combined with a high grade, that is when prices can explode. Many people online talk about shocking prices like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and while those numbers usually apply to extremely rare errors or unique specimens, it is important to understand that coin collecting is a market driven by rarity and demand, and the rarest verified pieces always bring the highest prices at auction. What makes the 1963 D Lincoln penny special is not just what it is, but what it could be, because one coin from this year might be worth 1 cent, while another from the same year could be worth a fortune if it has the right characteristics. Collectors around the world search rolls of old pennies hoping to find that one special coin, and many discoveries have happened exactly that way, in jars, bank rolls, inherited collections, and forgotten boxes in attics, proving that treasure does not always come in gold. Sometimes it comes in copper. If you have a 1963 D Lincoln penny, the first thing you should do is look closely, check the date, check the mint mark, look for doubling, look for unusual shapes, check the color, and never clean the coin, because cleaning can destroy value instantly. History gives this penny meaning, rarity gives it power, and knowledge gives you the advantage. And that is why learning about coins is so important, because the next rare penny could already be in your possession without you even knowing it. The Lincoln penny has been a symbol of everyday America for more than a century, and the 1963 D issue represents the last years of traditional copper pennies before major changes came to U.S. coinage, making it a favorite among collectors who appreciate both history and metal. So the next time someone tells you a penny is just a penny, remember this story. Remember the 1963 D Lincoln cent, and remember that small details can make a massive difference in value. This is why collectors never stop searching, why coin shows are always busy, and why auctions can reach unbelievable numbers, because behind every coin is a story, and sometimes that story is worth far more than its face value. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the rare Lincoln penny, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel Coins, and share this with anyone who keeps old coins, because knowledge shared is value multiplied, and you never know whose life might change because of one small copper coin. Today's video might completely change the way you look at a simple 1-cent coin, because the coin we are talking about today is the rare Lincoln penny 1972, a coin that many people still have in their pockets, drawers, piggy banks, and old jars without realizing that this tiny copper coin could be connected to values reaching unbelievable numbers. Yes, we are talking about figures that collectors whisper about, auction houses debate, and coin hunters dream of every single day. The Lincoln penny is one of the most iconic coins ever produced in American history, first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, and by the time 1972 arrived, this coin was already deeply woven into everyday American life, used by millions, ignored by most, and secretly studied by a very small group of collectors who knew that some years hide extraordinary surprises. The 1972 Lincoln penny was struck during a time of massive production, with hundreds of millions of coins made, which usually means low value. But here is where the story takes a sharp and exciting turn, because within that massive production run, certain rare error coins were born, and those errors transformed an ordinary 1-cent piece into one of the most talked about modern Lincoln pennies ever discovered. The most famous and valuable version of the 1972 Lincoln penny is known among collectors for its dramatic doubling, especially visible in the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the date itself, where the numbers appear clearly doubled to the naked eye, not a shadow, not where, but a strong second image created during the minting process, something that cannot be faked easily and something that instantly sets collectors' hearts racing. This doubling happened because of a misalignment during the die creation process at the mint, and unlike minor doubling that is common and worth nothing, this strong double die variety is bold, sharp, and undeniable, making it one of the most important error coins of the 20th century. When collectors first began noticing this coin, many people had already spent them, lost them, or ignored them, but those who recognized the error early were suddenly holding something incredibly special, and as word spread, the hunt for the 1972 double-die Lincoln penny exploded across the country. Now let's talk about value, because this is where things get truly exciting, and also where many myths are born. A normal 1972 Lincoln penny in circulated condition is usually worth just 1 cent, maybe a few cents more, but the rare double-die version is a completely different story. Depending on condition, even worn examples can sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars, while high-grade uncirculated specimens have sold at major auctions for tens of thousands of dollars. There are reports and collector discussions that mention extraordinary prices, including legendary figures approaching $787,976.48 for extremely rare, perfectly preserved, top population examples tied to unique provenance and auction competition, values that are not everyday prices but represent the absolute ceiling of what collectors are willing to pay when rarity, condition, demand, and history collide in one moment. What makes this coin even more fascinating is that many people still confuse the rare double die with common machine doubling, which means real treasures are sometimes overlooked or dismissed, sitting quietly in collections or boxes, waiting for someone with the right knowledge to recognize them. The history of the 1972 Lincoln penny is also a reflection of the era itself, a time of social change, economic pressure, and massive industrial output, and this coin passed through countless hands during that period, buying candy, newspapers, and small daily necessities, never revealing its hidden potential until decades later. Collectors today value this penny not just for its price tag, but for what it represents, a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry incredible stories, that mistakes can become masterpieces, and that history sometimes hides in plain sight. If you are watching this video right now, there is a real chance that you or someone you know has seen this coin before, maybe even spent it without knowing, and that thought alone is enough to keep collectors searching through rolls, estates, and old collections every single day. The key to identifying the real rare 1972 Lincoln penny is careful examination, strong doubling that is clear and separated, especially on the lettering and date, and not something that disappears when viewed from different angles, because true double die coins show strong, consistent doubling that remains visible under magnification. This coin continues to grow in popularity as new collectors enter the hobby, prices continue to rise for top examples, and demand remains strong, making it one of the most famous and desirable Lincoln pennies ever produced. The story of the rare Lincoln penny 1972 teaches us that value is not always obvious, that rarity is often hidden, and that knowledge is the real treasure, and that is exactly why coins exists, to bring these stories to light, to educate, inspire, and maybe even help you discover something extraordinary in your own collection. So next time you see a simple 1-cent coin, remember this story, remember the 1972 Lincoln penny, and remember that sometimes, history, mystery, and money are all hiding inside the smallest details. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and share, because the next coin we talk about could be the one you already have, right now. Today we are talking about a Lincoln penny that many people ignore, many people spend, and many people never look at twice, but collectors know that sometimes the most common-looking coins hide the biggest secrets. Today our focus is on the rare Lincoln penny from 1976 with the D mint mark, a coin that has created massive buzz online, sparked huge debate among collectors, and shocked people with stories of unbelievable prices, including viral claims reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is not just a coin, this is a story of American history, minting errors, collector demand, and why some small copper coins can change lives. The year 1976 was special in the United States because it marked the bicentennial, 200 years of American independence. While most people remember the special quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins from that year, very few realize that Lincoln pennies were still being produced in massive numbers at the same time. The 1976 D Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint, and on the surface it looks completely normal. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and the familiar copper color that people saw every day in their pockets. But here is where things get interesting. Even though millions of these pennies were made, not all of them are the same. Some were struck with errors, some were struck with unusual characteristics, and some survived in extraordinary condition. These differences are what separate a 1-cent coin from a coin that collectors fight over. Many people online talk about the 1976 D Lincoln penny being worth massive amounts of money, even spreading numbers like $787,976. Now let's be very clear and very honest, not every 1976 D penny is worth big money. In fact, most of them are only worth 1 cent or slightly more because of their copper content. But, and this is a big but, certain rare versions can be worth hundreds, thousands, and in extreme cases tens of thousands of dollars, especially when you combine rare errors, perfect condition, and serious collector demand. One of the most valuable factors is condition. A 1976 D penny that looks shiny, sharp, and untouched, especially one graded in mint state by a professional grading service, can be worth far more than an average circulated coin. Collectors pay premium prices for pennies that look like they were struck yesterday, even though they are nearly 50 years old. Then we have minting errors, and this is where the real excitement begins. Some 1976 D Lincoln pennies were struck off-center, some have doubled dies where the lettering or date appears doubled, some show weak strikes, clipped planchets, or unusual metal flow. These errors are rare, and rarity is everything in coin collecting. A genuine double die penny from 1976 D can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how strong and clear the doubling is. Another factor is metal composition. During the 1970s, pennies were mostly copper, and copper prices have risen over time. While this alone does not make the coin extremely valuable, it adds to the base value and keeps collectors interested. A high-grade copper penny from the 1970s is always more attractive than a modern zinc penny. The reason people believe these coins are worth insane amounts of money is because of auction stories. Sometimes a very specific coin, with a unique combination of error, perfect condition, and top grading, sells for an unbelievable price. When that happens, the story spreads fast on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. The price gets exaggerated, the details get lost, and suddenly every 1976 D penny is called a hidden treasure. Smart collectors know better. They know value depends on details, not just the date. So if you have a 1976 D Lincoln penny, do not throw it away and do not assume it is worthless. Look at it carefully. Check the date, the mint mark, the lettering, and the condition. Use a magnifying glass. Compare it with normal pennies. If something looks unusual, you may have found something special. Getting a professional opinion or grading can make the difference between a 1-cent coin and a serious collectible. The Lincoln penny itself is one of the most collected coins in the world. It represents American history, Abraham Lincoln's legacy, and over a century of coin production. Coins like the 1976 D penny remind us that treasure does not always look shiny or golden. Sometimes it looks ordinary, waiting for the right person to notice. This is why coin collecting is not just about money, it is about knowledge, patience, and curiosity. One person sees a penny, another sees history, and a collector sees possibility. The next time you check your pocket change, remember this story. That small copper coin might not make you a millionaire, but it might connect you to a hidden world of value and history that most people never see. If you enjoy learning about rare coins, hidden errors, and surprising values, make sure you stay connected with coins. We bring real stories, real knowledge, and real passion for coin collectors around the world. Keep searching, keep learning, and never ignore the pennies, because sometimes the smallest coins tell the biggest stories. Today we are diving into one of the most talked about and most misunderstood coins in American history, the rare Lincoln penny dated 1976, a coin that many people ignore every single day without realizing what could be hiding in their pocket or old drawer. And if you stay till the end of this video, you might look at every penny in your house with completely new eyes. The Lincoln penny is not just a coin, it is a symbol of American history, pride, struggle, and survival. First introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, this was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and by 1976 the penny had already become part of daily life for millions of people. Buses, shops, school canteens, and gas stations were full of these coins, quietly moving from hand to hand. Now let us talk about 1976 specifically, because this year was special in America. It was the bicentennial year, celebrating 200 years of independence, and while most people focus on the special quarters and half dollars, the penny of 1976 was still being produced in huge numbers, and that is exactly why rare versions of this coin can shock collectors today. The standard 1976 Lincoln penny was made mainly of copper with a smooth brown or reddish tone, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But not all pennies are created equal. Some coins from this year were struck differently, some were struck on wrong planchets, some have minting errors, and some survived in unusually perfect condition. And this is where the real money story begins. Many people ask, is the 1976 Lincoln penny worth a lot of money? And the honest answer is most of them are only worth 1 cent, but a few rare examples are worth hundreds, thousands, and in extreme collector cases prices can go unbelievably high when the right buyer meets the right coin at the right time. One of the most valuable factors is condition. A 1976 penny that looks brand new with full shine, no scratches, no discoloration, and sharp details can be worth many times more than a worn coin. Collectors call this mint state, and top-graded coins can sell for serious money at auctions. Then there are error coins, and this is where things get exciting. Some 1976 Lincoln pennies were struck with double dies, meaning the design appears doubled, especially on the date, the word liberty, or in God we trust. These doubling errors are highly collectible and easily missed by the untrained eye. Another rare and valuable variety includes off-center strikes, where the design is not properly aligned, leaving blank space on one side of the coin. These errors happened inside the mint and escaped into circulation, making them rare survivors of a mistake that should never have happened. Some 1976 pennies were struck on the wrong metal planchet, for example a blank meant for another coin. If you ever find a 1976 penny that looks silver-colored or unusually light in weight, do not spend it. This could be a major error worth a fortune. Collectors also look closely at mint marks. Pennies from 1976 were made at different mints, and while most are common, certain mint combinations with errors are much harder to find. Rarity plus demand equals value, and demand for Lincoln cents has never disappeared. There are stories in the coin world of people finding rare pennies in old jars inherited from grandparents or in rolls bought from banks for face value, only to discover later that a single coin was worth more than a car. These stories are not myths, they are documented realities of the Collector market. You might hear huge numbers like hundreds of thousands of dollars attached to rare pennies, and while not every story is realistic, there have been cases where unique error pennies reached extremely high prices due to bidding wars among elite collectors. When a coin is one of a kind or nearly impossible to find, the value becomes whatever someone is willing to pay. What makes the 1976 Lincoln penny especially interesting is that so many still exist, meaning many rare pieces could still be undiscovered, sitting quietly in homes, shops and collections, waiting for someone curious enough to look closely. If you have a magnifying glass, start by checking the date, look for doubling, examine the edges, feel the weight, compare it with another penny and trust your instincts. If something feels different, it might be different. Never clean a coin. Cleaning can destroy value instantly. Always keep it safe, and if you think you have something special, get it checked by a professional coin dealer or grading service. The beauty of coin collecting is that history, money and luck all meet in one small object. The 1976 Lincoln penny reminds us that even the most ordinary things can hide extraordinary value. So the next time someone tells you a penny is just a penny, remember this video, remember the rare Lincoln penny of 1976, and remember that knowledge is what turns pocket change into potential treasure. If you love discovering hidden value, learning real coin history and hunting for rare money, make sure you subscribe to Coins, because every coin has a story and some stories are worth a lot more than 1 cent. Today's story is about a Lincoln penny that most people ignore, spend, or lose without thinking twice, yet collectors all over the world are hunting for special examples of this coin. I'm talking about the rare Lincoln penny dated 1977 with the S or D mint, a coin surrounded by confusion, myths, real collector demand, and some unbelievable claims about value that keep going viral online. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand. Just 1 cent. It feels light, ordinary, and almost worthless. But what if I told you that certain 1977 Lincoln pennies have sold for hundreds, thousands, and in rare auction cases even more, depending on condition, errors, and mint variety? That is why you should never judge a coin by its face value. The Lincoln penny design itself already carries deep American history. Abraham Lincoln became the first real person to appear on a regular circulating U.S. coin in 1909. By 1977, this design had already been part of everyday life for nearly 7 decades. Millions of pennies were produced that year, but not all pennies are created equal. Small differences can turn a common coin into a collector's dream. Let's talk about the 1977 Lincoln penny. These coins were struck at different mints. Some were made in Philadelphia with no mint mark, some in Denver with AD, and some in San Francisco with an S. The San Francisco mint is especially important because it is known for proof coins, higher quality strikes, and cleaner details. Collectors always pay closer attention to these. Now here is where things get interesting. Most people online talk about crazy prices like $700,000 or more for a 1977 penny. Let's be very clear and honest. A normal circulated 1977 Lincoln penny is usually worth just 1 cent. Even uncirculated examples are often worth only a few cents to a few dollars. But that is not the end of the story. What really creates value are condition, rarity within condition, and minting errors. A 1977 Lincoln penny in perfect mint state condition with sharp details, strong luster, and no damage can sell for significantly more than face value. Coins graded MS-67 or higher by professional grading services can reach hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction, especially if demand is strong. Error coins are where things explode. Off-center strikes, double dies, wrong planchet errors, clipped planchets, and strike-through errors from 1977 are extremely desirable. A genuine double-die Lincoln penny from this year, especially one with strong doubling visible on the date or lettering, can be worth a serious amount of money. These are the coins collectors fight over. Proof coins from San Francisco also deserve attention. A 1977 S-proof penny with deep cameo contrast, perfect surfaces, and no spots can sell for much more than a regular proof. If it has a rare error or unusual strike, the price can climb fast. So what about the viral claim of a 1977 Lincoln penny worth over $700,000? Here's the truth collectors understand. Prices like that are usually connected to extremely rare, one-of-a-kind errors, experimental strikes, or coins with historical significance combined with flawless condition. These are not coins you find every day in pocket change. But the possibility is what keeps collectors searching, checking rolls, and examining every penny under magnification. This is why you should always check your coins carefully. Look at the date. Look for the mint mark. Examine the lettering on "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." Look closely at Lincoln's portrait. Any doubling, odd thickness, missing details, or unusual texture could mean you're holding something special. The copper composition also matters. The 1977 Lincoln penny is made mostly of copper, giving it intrinsic metal appeal in addition to collector value. As copper prices rise, interest in pre-1982 pennies continues to grow. The history of this coin is not just about money. It represents a time before digital payments, before tap-to-pay, when coins were handled every day. Millions of hands touched these pennies, carried them, saved them, and spent them. Somewhere along the way, a few of them left the mint imperfect, and those imperfections are now treasures. Collectors don't just buy coins. They buy stories. A rare 1977 Lincoln penny tells a story of chance, history, and attention to detail. One person ignores it. Another person studies it. One spends it. Another sends it for grading. And that single decision can be the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing amount of money. If you have jars of old pennies at home, this is your sign to check them. Don't clean them. Don't scratch them. Don't assume they are worthless. Even a small mark can destroy value, while a small error can create it. The Lincoln penny proves that treasure doesn't always shine. Sometimes it looks ordinary. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. And sometimes, the smallest coin carries the biggest surprise. This is why collectors never stop searching, and this is why the 1977 Lincoln penny remains one of the most talked about modern coins in the collecting world. If you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coins and hidden value, make sure you subscribe to the Coins channel, because every coin has a story, and the next one we talk about could be sitting in your pocket right now. Today's video is one you do not want to skip because we are talking about a Lincoln penny that many people ignore every single day, a penny from 1980 that looks common at first glance but in the right condition, with the right details, can completely shock you with its value. This is the kind of coin that hides in old jars, dusty drawers, and forgotten piggy banks, quietly waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. The Lincoln penny has one of the longest and most respected histories in American coinage. First introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, this coin became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person. Over the decades, billions were minted, but not all pennies are created equal. Some years, mint marks, errors, and special finishes turn a simple 1-cent coin into a serious collector's treasure, and 1980 is one of those years that deserves a closer look. In 1980, the United States Mint was still producing pennies made primarily of copper, just before a major change in composition happened in 1982. This alone makes 1980 pennies important because they belong to the final era of traditional copper Lincoln cents. Many collectors specifically hunt these coins because they represent the end of an era, and copper pennies have always carried strong demand in the coin market. The 1980 Lincoln penny was produced at multiple mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. While most people focus only on face value, experienced collectors know that San Francisco mint coins, especially those with proof finishes or unusual characteristics, can be significantly more valuable. A sharp strike, mirror-like surfaces, and perfect details instantly separate an ordinary penny from one that collectors will pay real money for. What truly makes certain 1980 Lincoln pennies rare and expensive are errors and varieties. Coins with off-center strikes, doubled dies, weak strikes, clipped planchets, or unusual metal compositions can reach prices that sound unbelievable to people outside the coin collecting world. Some error coins from this era have sold for hundreds, thousands, and in exceptional cases, eye-opening amounts at auctions when demand is high and condition is nearly flawless. Condition is everything in the coin world. A worn 1980 penny that has been passed from hand to hand for decades is usually worth only its face value. But a coin graded in mint state, especially MS 67 or higher, becomes a completely different story. These top-grade coins are extremely difficult to find because even the smallest scratch or mark lowers the grade. That difficulty is exactly what drives prices up. There are recorded cases where high-grade 1980 proof pennies from San Francisco, kept in pristine condition, have sold for strong prices due to their beauty and rarity. When collectors compete for the finest known examples, the market can climb fast. This is why people are often shocked to learn that a 1-cent coin can be connected to prices that seem more like luxury items than pocket change. Another reason the 1980 Lincoln penny attracts attention is its timing in U.S. history. The late 1970s and early 1980s were a period of economic change, inflation concerns, and shifts in metal values. Copper prices were rising, and the government was preparing to change the penny's composition. That historical background adds depth and meaning to the coin, making it more than just metal, but a small piece of American economic history. Collectors don't just buy coins, they buy stories. A 1980 Lincoln penny tells the story of the final copper years, the transition of minting technology, and the everyday money that Americans used during a changing time. When a coin carries history, rarity, and visual appeal together, its value can grow far beyond expectations. Many people watching this video might already own a 1980 penny without realizing it. That is why checking your coins carefully is so important. Look closely at the date, the mint mark, the color, the weight, and any unusual details. Even small differences can mean the difference between a common penny and a coin worth serious money to the right collector. Professional grading is another key factor. Coins authenticated and graded by respected grading companies often sell for much higher prices because buyers trust the condition and authenticity. A top-graded 1980 Lincoln penny becomes a verified collectible rather than just a claim. This trust is what fuels high auction results. The coin market is driven by demand, rarity, and condition, and when all three align, prices can reach levels that surprise even experienced collectors. While not every 1980 penny is rare, the few exceptional examples prove that value can hide in plain sight. That is why collectors never stop searching rolls, old collections, and inherited coin boxes. So the next time you see a simple brown penny dated 1980, don't dismiss it too quickly. That small coin could be part of a powerful story, a moment in history, and possibly a valuable collectible. Knowledge is what turns ordinary people into smart collectors, and awareness is the first step toward discovering hidden treasures. If you enjoy learning how everyday coins can be worth far more than their face value, make sure you stay connected with the Coins channel. Here, we explore the rare, the valuable, and the unbelievable world of coin collecting, one coin at a time. Keep checking your change, keep learning, and remember, sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest surprises. Today's video is one of those stories that almost nobody notices, but once you hear it, you will never look at a penny the same way again. We are talking about a rare Lincoln penny connected to the year 1981, a small copper coin that has shocked collectors, confused experts, and created huge excitement in the coin collecting world. This is not just a penny, this is history hiding in your pocket. Most people think a penny is the lowest value coin, something you ignore, something you drop on the road without caring. But what if I told you that one specific Lincoln penny from 1981 has sold for incredible prices at auctions, and some examples are rumored to be worth life-changing money when found in the right condition? This is why collectors carefully inspect every single 1981 Lincoln penny they come across. The Lincoln penny has a long and powerful history in American coinage. Introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Over the decades, the design changed slightly, metals changed, minting technology evolved, and mistakes happened. Those mistakes are where the real money is hiding. The year 1981 is very special for Lincoln pennies. This was a transitional period in U.S. coin production. The mint was preparing to move away from traditional copper composition because copper prices were rising fast. In 1981, pennies were still mostly made of copper, but the pressure to change metals created inconsistencies, experiments, and quality control issues. This is exactly the kind of environment where rare coins are born. One of the most talked about versions from this year is the 1981 Lincoln penny struck at special mint facilities, especially those connected to proof strikes and limited minting runs. Some of these coins were produced with sharper details, mirror-like surfaces, and extremely fine finishes that were never meant for circulation. When coins like these accidentally enter the public, their value can explode. Collectors look closely at the lettering on the coin. The word Liberty, the date 1981, and the phrase "In God We Trust" can show doubling, weakness, or unusual thickness. Even tiny differences that the average person would never notice can turn a normal penny into a rare variety worth hundreds, thousands, or more. Another major factor is condition. A 1981 Lincoln penny in worn condition may be worth only a little more than face value. But a coin that has never been circulated, with full original luster, sharp edges, and no scratches, can jump dramatically in price. When combined with rare mint characteristics or errors, the value can reach astonishing levels. There are reports in the coin collecting community of ultra-high-grade 1981 Lincoln pennies selling for extremely high amounts at auction. These are usually coins graded by professional grading services, sealed in protective holders, and verified as being among the finest known examples. While not every coin reaches these levels, the possibility is what keeps collectors searching. Some 1981 pennies also show striking errors. Off-center strikes, weak strikes, die cracks, and double dies are all known to exist from this period. Error coins are especially exciting because they are one-of-a-kind or extremely limited. When collectors compete for rare errors, prices can rise fast. What makes the Lincoln penny so fascinating is that it looks ordinary. There is nothing flashy about it at first glance. Abraham Lincoln's calm portrait, the simple design, and the familiar size make it easy to overlook. But rarity does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers, waiting for the right person to listen. People have found valuable Lincoln pennies in old jars, piggy banks, inherited collections, and even loose change from everyday transactions. That is why this story matters. The coin you already own could be the one collectors dream about. The market for rare coins continues to grow as more people realize that coins are not just money, they are artifacts. They carry stories of economics, politics, technology, and human error. The 1981 Lincoln penny represents a moment just before a major change in U.S. coinage, making it historically important as well as collectible. Values in the coin market are influenced by demand, rarity, condition, and verified authenticity. When a rare Lincoln penny checks all these boxes, collectors are willing to pay surprising amounts. Some recorded sales have reached figures that most people would never associate with a 1-cent coin. This is why experts always recommend careful inspection. Use good lighting. Use a magnifying glass. Compare your coin to known examples. Look for sharp details, unusual textures, and anything that feels different from a normal penny. Never clean a coin, because cleaning can destroy its value instantly. If you believe you have something special, professional grading is the next step. Certified coins gain trust, and trust is everything in the collector market. A graded 1981 Lincoln penny with rare characteristics can attract serious buyers worldwide. The Lincoln penny is more than metal. It is a symbol of American history, and certain years like 1981 carry hidden stories that only collectors understand. That is why this coin continues to be discussed, researched, and hunted every single day. So the next time you see a penny dated 1981, do not ignore it. Do not spend it without looking. That tiny coin could be a piece of history, a collector's treasure, or even a financial surprise waiting to happen. This is why we bring you stories like this on the Coins channel. Because knowledge turns pocket change into potential treasure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the rare Lincoln penny, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with anyone who still thinks pennies are worthless.